Sorry, but it's more than 2 seconds. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Hello? Great. This. Can you hear me? Great. Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. Who is new to the Hive? Who is new to Paris Soma? Great. So thank you Paris Soma for hosting us tonight. Make sure to check out their website. It's a co-working space. They organize events and classes. And I'm with the Hive. I'm going to say a few words about the Hive think tank. So the Hive think tank is the largest data-driven community in the US, and we organize events every week. We have from 200 to 700 attendees every week. We host these events mostly in the South Bay, so it's great to be here in San Francisco. And we've had over 7,000 members, and you are part of the community. You are one of these members. We'd like to thank our sponsors tonight, partners, especially Paris Soma and Pentaho, who is here at the registration with a few giveaways. And with this, please make sure to continue the conversation online. We'll have a great panel discussion tonight, moderated by Elizabeth, and you can comment, ask you questions, post pictures on Twitter using the hashtag HiveData. And with this, I'll let Ravi introduce the Hive. Thank you.
Thank you, Pashu. How many of you know Pashu here from before? Pashu just had a baby 2 weeks back, so congratulations. Isn't she amazing? She's here in 2 weeks. So thank you, Pashu. So a bit of an introduction to the Hive. The Hive is a fund. We incubate and launch companies that are data-driven, and hence kind of the topic today around big data and online dating. So we are different from a lot of other incubators in the sense that we are high touch, low volume. So we tend to invest in 4 or 5 companies a year. We put $2 to $3 million in each company. Everything we do is driven by data. So applications in online, in enterprise, in Internet of Things around data. I'm going to try this clicker to see if it works. So those are some of our companies. We recently sold 2 of them. One to Rakuten, another one to Pinterest. So you'll see sort of a portfolio that spans, blockchain analytics, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, CRM, and so on and so forth. So if you are on Twitter today, use the hashtag HiveData. That way others can also follow you. And with that, it's really an incredible pleasure for me to have the moderator today, Elizabeth Roskin of Wall Street Journal. Elizabeth is amazing. She covers data, privacy, a whole related range of issues related to data for Wall Street Journal, and has moderated a number of panels for us at the Hive. And so with that, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Rob. Good? Okay. Robbie, thank you so much for having me, and Pashu, and thanks to the Hive for having me again. I'm really excited to be here. It's a juicy topic tonight. So perhaps some of you know the statistic that over the last 8 years, 30% of Americans who married met online, and 60 to 70% of gay and lesbian couples met online. Now, that's huge. That's a sea change. That is in itself deeply disruptive. And so I'm really excited tonight to just dig into that, get under the hood, and see how it works, this interaction between humans and technology in our most intimate of spaces, and how data science works here. I'm also excited to get into some of the challenges. We have 3 rival companies with us tonight. I can't forget that. Everyone here is frenemies in Silicon Valley. But conducting in some ways one of the biggest social experiments that there is, and also competing for your eyeballs and your hearts. So how do you keep people engaged? And especially when, if you have a successful outcome, people leave your site and go happily ever after. So I'm excited to introduce the panelists. We have, Viral Parikh, who is the Senior Data Scientist at Match.com. Amanda Bradford, who is CEO and founder of the dating app The League, which she'll tell you about. And Mike Riccio, who is VP of Engineering at Zoosk. So, you guys want to take a seat and introduce yourself, and go from there. If you want to start, I think, and give an introduction to the company. We'd love to hear it.
So I think Elizabeth already mentioned about some of the stats. Yeah, I think Elizabeth already mentioned some of the stats, right? I think Elizabeth already mentioned some of the stats. I hope everyone can hear me. Oh, is this not working? Oh.
Do you have any engineers in here?
So I think before I start, right, just want to see how many over here have used online dating of any kind? Sure, a lot of people, right? And how many have used Match? Okay, forget Match, Tinder. Okay, I think, I mean, it's interesting. I personally think dating is very personal. We all like being in relationships. We all like being loved. I think it's a very personal thing. And I think online dating, it's even a big challenge right now. I mean, how do you match 2 people up, right? I mean, there's Amazon, there's Google, there's Netflix. You buy a product, you do a search, you watch a movie, but they don't have to like you back. Think about it. Whereas the other person has to like you back in case of online dating. So I think it's a big challenge, and I think there's almost 118 million singles, again, approximate number of singles out there, and that's a big market. It's good for the ecosystem. I think there's a lot of startups as well in this area. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. Oh, okay. So I don't know if you guys know, but Match Group owns almost 50 brands. I think we added one more yesterday. Plenty of Fish.
$600 million.
Yeah. And we are across 5 continents. I didn't know that. I think if at a high level you can break it down into subscription-based businesses and advertising-based businesses, and I think we do invest in a few. I wouldn't say invest. We do participate with some other companies as well. I think TDR is one of them. 3-Day Rule, we partner with them as well. I think the most prominent brands are Match, Tinder, and OkCupid, which I'm sure you guys would have heard about. I think in other countries there's Myriad as well. It's in France. Anyways, I think I'll go on to Match. So what's Match's mission, right? We want to start meaningful conversations or connections to every single person in this world. And I don't know if you know, but Match has been around for 20 years. That's a long time, right? I think we every day still get 30,000 new members joining our site. That's a lot of users joining our site every single day. And I think I didn't know about this fact until I joined Match. The most interesting thing is there's 1 million babies out there, successful couples. Don't ask me how I got that number. Yeah, it's a fact. Another component of Match is there is an offline product as well. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's called Match Events or Stir. And it's pretty popular. I mean, you know, a lot of people are using the events component as well, or the events product as well. So if you haven't heard, you should check it out. You know, and I think at the end, you know, I'm a data scientist. I'm going to get into some nerdy stuff. So what's our mission, right? We want to help Match, you know, and all its members, all its customers, you know, find love. Basically, that's our mission. And so we work in a variety of different ways, matching algorithms, recommendation systems, it's all the same thing. We build a lot of machine learning models, do a lot of testing, experiments, and I'm sure there's going to be questions around that. And I think there are two new areas which I personally am interested in is NLP or text mining and images. You know, images is something which we could do something with that right now. So yeah, I think I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Great. Can we get the Match collateral? So I didn't bring a deck, but just a screensaver is fine. So hi everyone, I'm Amanda Bradford. I'm founder and CEO of The League. We are a new dating app, just launched in last November. And what we do is we match high-achieving, ambitious singles with each other. So we require double authentication with Facebook and LinkedIn, and because of that, we can ensure complete privacy from any of your coworkers, your Facebook friends, your business connections that you might be having negotiations with. So all of that kind of awkwardness is removed, and on top of that, you have a lot more context about the profile. So instead of just swiping right and left based on someone's looks, we feel like intelligent people care about more than just looks and care about, hopefully, someone else's intelligence. So that's sort of the kind of premise behind The League, is that you have that information up front. So when we think about kind of who our target users are, these are users that really want a community, want to really be shown respect, and they want to find someone that's their equal. So this is like the opposite of a trophy wife app, or the opposite of an app where you're looking for housewives. This is more of a power couple app. The women on The League are, 60% of them have advanced degrees. We have doctors, we have lawyers. We have about 60% women signed up on our wait list. And the final kind of differentiator here is the curation aspect. So we don't accept everyone into The League. Currently, we have a wait list that's in the hundreds of thousands. We're only live in New York and San Francisco, but we really try to select people that we feel like are going to take dating seriously, have high quality profiles that users will want to match with, and really kind of embody the brand of ambitious, high achieving young professionals. So it is definitely a kind of tailored approach, but we feel because of that we have a much higher match rate, a much higher engagement rate, and ultimately a higher success rate at the end of the day.
Is my mic working?
Yes, it is.
Why the wait list? Is it to have the aura of selectivity, or is there a technological reason?
So we think of the wait list as, if you think of The League as like a country club, right? So there's a limited capacity in a country club. So we like to think of The League as similar to that, where there is a limited capacity in terms of once a community becomes too big, it really loses that intimacy, it loses that feeling that it's special, that it's different, that you go to a place where you know everyone's name kind of thing. So I modeled it after places like Soho House or the Battery or country clubs that they do have wait lists. Maybe you're on the wait list for a month, maybe you're on the wait list for 6 months, and it's a little bit of a revolving door as people match up and hopefully find love. Then we kind of replace them with users on the wait list. So it just kind of makes the whole experience feel a little bit more special and intimate.
Is it first come, first serve, or
No.
is it?
No, not at all. It's a little bit complex. We actually have a whole algorithm around the selection process, but I kind of equate it to college admissions, where you don't want to hire, or hiring, I guess, for that matter. But a college doesn't want to accept 100% of users that want to be computer science majors. you want to have people that want to do marketing and people that are interested in English and the arts. You want to have musicians. So we really try to create a diverse community. And if you're in an underrepresented group, you may kind of get expedited on the wait list. Where if you're in an overrepresented group, you may be waiting a little bit longer. We also look at preferences. So if you are looking for, I say this to the girls, but if you are looking for a guy who's 6'5", within 1 mile from you, who's only won race and went to a highly selective school, you may be waiting in line a little bit longer than someone that's a little bit more accepting. So.
All right, well, Amanda is curating the future of the world, so
we're hoping to have a league of babies soon, but keep you guys posted.
Mike.
All right. Well, I have this in front of me, so I don't have to turn back and forth. So really what makes Zoosk special, the heart of Zoosk, is our behavioral matchmaking algorithms and engine. We really learn as you click. As you use the product, we learn more about you. And we also learn more about the people who are interested in you. So it really works in two directions. So it's not just who you're interested in, but it's also who's interested in you. And we surface that to you through our insights feature so that you can see, okay, people who have graduate degrees are more likely to be interested in you than people who have high school education. You can see that. And it's a very personalized experience for each member. We have 34 million members in 8 countries, and we're localized in 25 different languages. And that really amounts to 2 million messages being sent each day to our different users. And one of the new features we recently rolled out that's unique to Zoosk is our photo verification feature. And this really, what you do is you upload a video selfie to us, and that goes to our customer support team, and they look at it, and they verify that the face in the video matches the face in your pictures, and that your pictures are recent and representative of you. And that really increases the authenticity of your profile on the site. And that's really what we saw when we talked to users. That was their #1 concern, that the person they're going to meet in real life isn't the person that they saw in the profile. And we see that users who have verified profiles actually get 4 times as many messages as people who don't. We're the top grossing dating app. 60% of our first-time subscription purchases come from online mobile devices. And we started on Facebook 8 years ago. And because of that, we started there, we expanded to the dating site and expanded to mobile from there. We really wanted to follow where the people were, the people that needed help to be able to find other people. And that allowed us to build this tremendous social presence. So we have over 13 million Facebook fans. That makes us a top 75 brand, which is pretty amazing. And we've got over 300,000 Twitter followers. And one of the interesting things we do on social media is we publish these data studies every quarter that talk about insights that we learn from looking at the data. And those are based on actual customer interactions. So it's pretty interesting. If you haven't followed us on Facebook, I recommend you do and check it out.
I'm just going to jump on top of my own questions, which is, you mentioned photo verification. And so how big, for each of you, how big of a problem is fraud? And what does fraud look like in online dating?
Yeah, so there's lots of different types of fraud. There's of course payment fraud where people might obtain a credit card and use that to create a profile that they're then using to scam other people. And we have a lot of algorithms that detect this stuff and catch it pretty rapidly. And we're very proud of the fact that all the things that get uploaded go for verification with our customer support team, and we process that very quickly. Our goal is to process everything in under an hour so that we can approve it and put it on the site.
I mean, what about fraud in terms of people putting up pictures of people who are more attractive than they are, or when they were younger, when they were maybe a younger self, or just all the dynamics that one can imagine? Does that happen a lot for you guys?
We call that catfishing. And it's definitely a problem, especially on some of the more, popular, common mobile apps that will remain nameless, but it's pretty easy to just kind of create a fake Facebook account with any photo you see on Google Images, and most sites don't have any of that verification. I know when I was building the league, I think I personally created about 20 fake accounts, 10 as a guy and 10 as a female, and matched with people, messaged with them like it was not hard at all. So I think for us, that's one of our biggest points that we try to drive home, is that because we're requiring this double authentication, and we have a selection algorithm, and then we put a human set of eyes on every profile before we put them in, is that we really try to stop that problem before it becomes a problem. But I think it's, I think that's definitely, I would say, one of the #1 issues in online dating.
But I think it's kind of a gray area, because all of us try to look better in our pictures, and a lot of the time, one of the top complaints about online dating is when you meet someone, they didn't look like their picture.
That's more
so
relevant.
here's that fraud.
I guess there's two different, I guess one is using a photo that's just clearly not yours, right? And that's, I would say, a little bit worse of an offense. And then the other one is using photos that make you look a little bit younger or better. It sounds like you guys built a whole feature around that. I think that is a problem. I think you can kind of solve it with some interesting feedback loops that we're thinking about. But yeah, I think that's I guess there are two separate problems there.
Carol, what do you think?
I think as Mike mentioned, right, there are multiple different types of frauds. Payment is one, but I think the photograph related stuff is interesting. I think we have to at some point of time give credit to social networks. I think that has brought down a lot of the frauds down as far as dating is concerned. Because nowadays most of the apps require social network verification and so on and so forth. So I think I think that definitely is one area. I think around looking young versus old, I don't know. I have some thoughts. I mean, I can probably think that maybe we could do some analysis of those users who have uploaded photographs earlier, and see what photographs they're uploading after, like, let's say 2 years, and you could do something with images, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So you think there could be a data mining approach to understanding deception online?
Yeah, because could be, yeah, we could develop something like that. But again, it's I mean, right now I don't think we have any algorithms around that to understand, young versus old. But definitely, I think the social network has solved some problem around your identity.
And of course, people may come back and say, so what if I was younger? That's me. And
I think the other point I would just make is if you're being authentic and transparent about who you are, like at least in our app, you can find any of our users' profiles on LinkedIn or Facebook because we show that information. So, you could go and verify what that user looks like on their Instagram or their Facebook or their LinkedIn photos. And so it's a little bit of like the community can kind of enforce it because, you wouldn't go and update your LinkedIn profile to say a school you didn't go to. You wouldn't put a fake photo that doesn't look like you on LinkedIn. So it's, you can kind of validate that as a user in the community.
And one thing I'll add is we do have some technical means of validating photos and making sure they aren't photos that are uploaded that we see elsewhere online. And I can personally attest that this works because when I was interviewing with Zoosk, of course, I went and created an account, but I'm married, so I didn't want my picture on there. And you need a picture to really experience it. So I'm a pretty technical savvy guy. I figured I can fake this out. I can come up with a picture that is legitimately sort of me, maybe. I tried 3 or 4 times. It got rejected every time. So the technology we have actually does work.
Did your wife know you were doing that?
She did. She was well aware of what I was doing. I had permission.
Yeah, actually, one of our reporters writing an article about online dating did that. So you may be interacting with a reporter bot, investigating one of your sites.
The worst kind of bots.
The worst kind of bots. I have a number of questions about that, but I also want to jump into a different kind of question, which is you all mentioned verification through Facebook, but I know that Facebook is clamping down on its API. And so what happens when you can't get more data from Facebook? Is that a challenge?
I think, there are other ways to get data than just Facebook. Facebook certainly has a lot of data online, and, we strive to be a good partner with Facebook and work really well with them and maintain a really good relationship so that we don't abuse the data or fall, in violation of any of their rules for how we use the data. But there are other ways. We have so many members on our site. We have our own, essentially a social network ourselves, and we build that relationship data that we see on how they interact with each other and can leverage leverage that pretty effectively.
So you get that initial data set from Facebook, but you're saying even if Facebook clamps down, then you can go on and do your own social network.
Exactly.
Okay, you guys, quick answers.
We have redundancy because we work with LinkedIn. I would say that's our primary data source. So as long as Facebook continues to allow users to log in with their API, which it's in their best interest to, we're not kind of tied to them.
I think Match Group does have good relationships with Facebook as well. You know, I mean, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, no specific thoughts around it. Yeah.
Right.
We'll survive.
You'll survive? Yeah, I mean, it affects all the apps that use the social graph, so. All right, well, here's another question. So Aziz Ansari, the comedian actor, recently wrote a book about online dating. And so one of the things he pointed out is that there was research actually done by Match.com which discovered that the qualities and criteria that people put in their online dating profiles actually, they don't turn out to be the actual qualities that make them compatible with people. And so the question is, do algorithms really work, or are we over-filtering? Do people even know what they want? We'll start with that.
So I don't think I was involved in the Match.com study. But anyways, let me take the question. I think, you know, when you go onto Match.com, you do fill out what you want. I mean, your seek criteria, you know, what you're seeking for, and so on and so forth. But I don't think we restrict our algorithms to just that, because what we have observed is, you know, you could be saying that I'm interested in XYZ ethnicity and XYZ age criteria and location, but then you might be browsing everyone but that. So you could be browsing totally, like, you know, different ethnicity people, you know, messaging them and so on and so forth. So we do look at behavioral data as well, not just what you are seeking for, and you know, our algorithms do take care of that.
Okay, so you guys got that. So it's not just what you put in your profile, it's also how you behave going into that.
So we only let users put in 5 preferences, and I did a bunch of research on this, and I mean, I think you go to most dating sites and they ask you probably anywhere between 20 to 100 questions. I think eHarmony's questionnaire is, you know, 30 minutes long. So, you know, I boiled it down to, you know, in the demographic we're targeting, which is super busy, you know, successful people. There was a couple of preferences that were very strong and statistically significant when you looked at who they dated in the past. And so those are the ones we listen to, and that's kind of all we let our users set. So we almost don't let them set more than those 5.
So you think those 5 are the criteria that are predictive, and other variables aren't predictive?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we haven't really counter-tested it. That was based on you know, interviews, but I think, yeah, I think once you get into subjective things around personality and, you know, long walks on the beach versus dogs, or it's just it's too subjective. So I think some things like height, like location, like age, those things are very, you know, people have really strong preferences about those, and I think ignoring that is kind of would decrease your match rate.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, this really goes to the heart of, you know, why Zoosk was created in the first place, is that, you know, we believe really strongly that, you know, what people say and what they do may differ, and we base a lot of our decision making with our behavioral matchmaking on what you do, who you interact with, which profiles you're looking at, which people you're talking to. And, you know, we built a feature carousel to prime the pump and get the information around that as quickly as possible, where you see people's profiles and you vote yes, no, maybe on them and move through them, so that we can get enough data to be able to have, you know, our coefficients set so that we know what you're interested in.
So basically, you build like a personalized algorithm based on the kind of people that you see me clicking on yes, yes, yes,
Exactly.
no, no, no.
Yep. And we still have a search. If you want to search and you want to set filters on that, you can do that, but the primary engine is based on that behavioral matching.
I love this because it's like 3 different technological approaches to this human challenge of meeting people. What are you guys doing about just online dating being so goddamn tiring? Like, you know, anyone who's dated online is just like, yeah, oh my god, and it's kind of addictive because you're clicking through more and more people, but it's also exhausting. How do you deal with that problem?
Exhausting. Well,
I mean, who thinks online dating is exhausting?
I think dating can be exhausting in general, right? It's not so much the online part of dating. Dating is hard. Dating is work, and we try to find ways to at least make it more efficient for people. So, you know, it can be a lot of work to go out and meet people in real life and go to bars and go to other events and try and meet people that way. And, you know, our goal is to try and make it more efficient so that you have to do less work to meet somebody that you're actually interested in. And, you know, that's our goal, really. We're always trying to iterate and improve and make the process easier.
So I think the paradox of choice is a good expression to represent today's dating world. You know, on a lot of the apps out there, you see people scrolling through their matches. They have, you know, 100 potential people they could message to go to drinks or coffee with. So we really try to approach it from a different direction and say, we're going to give you 5 a day. Your matches are going to expire after 21 days. You know, like treat each match like a human, not a card in a deck of a playing card, I guess you would say. So that's why we really just limit the supply. And so again, when people complain that they want to see more girls, which is usually the complaint, we tell them, hey, there's other apps that will give you this kind of unlimited supply that you can sort of do the Angry Birds kind of philosophy with. But, you know, on the week, we really want you to kind of value each profile that we give you and really kind of look at it and hopefully talk to the person and make plans to meet up offline. So that's sort of the, we kind of limit it for the user, whether they like it or not.
I think in case of match, right, we do have a feature called daily matches, which I think we get 10 matches a day, anyone who uses the app or the site. And you know, we try and recommend the best possible matches for our customers. I think other than that on Match, there is a search component and you know, I think fundamentally it's, I think online dating should also be thought about as, you know, means to go and date outside. I think the eventual goal is to take it offline as well. I mean, it's just a means to know more people and to then take it offline because you have to meet someone in person to find out the chemistry. So sure, it's exhausting, but I mean there has to be some human effort put into it. Yeah, I guess it's important. It's part of your life. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned, you know, that you don't go on necessarily what you the matches that you show people aren't necessarily based on the criteria they list, but also on their behavior on the site. So what are some of the interesting patterns that you find, and buckets that you sort people into?
I guess what's the most interesting predictive?
What's the most interesting predictive thing that no one would expect here?
Yeah, I think so. I found this pretty interesting. So, you know, we ask women to, or we ask everyone to put their education level, right? And what we found in the data was women who have, you know, a bachelor's education, or you know, more than bachelor's, whatever, graduate or PhD and postdoc, they tend to prefer men who have more than bachelor's education as well, which I thought was interesting because you know, if you are bachelor's, sure, that makes sense. But if you are more than, I mean, if you have a graduate degree or a PhD or a postdoc, you know, you are also looking for a guy who has similar kind of education. I don't know, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Wait, so sorry, you saw that people who have bachelor's degrees.
I mean, they have a higher propensity to, you know, message. Is what I was trying to get at.
Message
people who didn't.
don't have bachelor's degrees, or
Women want to date in their league.
Yeah.
women want to date in their
Yeah, or even more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Okay, what about Amanda?
Yeah, I mean, I know that personally. So, I mean, that was kind of
why
the
you don't
intuition behind that. I didn't have that data at the time, but so I think for us, we're already in that. Like we all, you know, 99% of our users have college degrees, so that's sort of part of the screening algorithm. But for us, I think that was just kind of a status. Education is a sort of a status quo. I think the more interesting thing we've noticed is, I guess it's less based on the match, but if you think about like how we cohort people, so we have two types of people we call. One, the hippies, and those are the people that everybody likes, and they like everybody. And we like those people because they help our match rate. So, right, and then we also have like what we call like the delusional people, or like the Michael Scotts of the world, where they have a very low acceptance rate and they're very picky. And we don't really like those people. So they hurt our match rate, right? So we give them batch after batch of people and they reject them all. And so if you think about it, that, we're kind of wasting a slot in someone's day by serving that person up, because there's a very low likelihood that that person would match. So I think when you get into like how to tweak the algorithm, we kind of have these different versions for people where it's, there's the hippie, and so this is we can kind of serve a different type of person to the hippie than the delusional person. And then there's the super picky but very popular person, and so then, should we jump them up in the queue? And so it becomes actually a pretty interesting, like, statistics and math problem around kind of almost like a triage system.
Is this the computer, the algorithm making the decision, or is this?
So it's about, there's an algorithm around which 5 should I see that day, and of the 3 guys that hard on me, should I see all 3 of them? Should I just see one? Should I not even see one of them? So it's kind of around